You just sit at home and spend my money, he said.
So where's my tea? Mark called out irritably.
Coming, Kira answered from the kitchen. I'm just charging it up with a little feminine energy.
After your energy, am I even getting out of the bathroom? Mark shouted back, or should I just go ahead and write my will now?
With my energy, you'll feel amazing, Kira replied. Your fatigue will melt away, you'll have way more strength, and your mood will be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, see, that's exactly why I'm worried, Mark muttered skeptically. Can I just get plain tea? Like, nothing in it but actual tea?
A moment later, Kira walked into the living room, carefully balancing a ceramic tray with a teapot and 2 cups.
Oh. New dress? Mark raised his eyebrows.
You noticed? She smiled. Do you like it?
Honestly? Yeah, Mark admitted, giving her a slow, appreciative look. The dress hugged her figure in all the right places. You look pretty damn good. Kinda delicious, actually.
I'm glad you like it, Kira said, a little shyly.
Was it expensive? He asked, taking the cup from her.
That's not important, Kira said, sitting down next to him on the couch. If you like it, it's worth every penny.
Do a little spin for me, Mark said.
Kira instantly stood up and did a couple of elegant twirls, the skirt flaring around her thighs. Mark grabbed his phone off the coffee table, opened the boutique's app, snapped a quick photo of the dress, and waited while it searched for a match online.
You have got to be kidding me, he blurted. $700. You bought that dress for $700?
There was a sale, Kira shrugged lightly. It was only $680. But what difference does it make if you like it?
It makes a huge difference, because dropping $700 on a dress is a bit much, Mark snapped. Especially considering I'm the only one in this house bringing in any money.
See? You're mad now, Kira's face fell. I'm never wearing this dress again.
Oh no, honey, you are absolutely going to wear it, Mark shook his head. Blowing $700 just to let the dress sit in the closet? Not happening. I'm not a millionaire.
No, Kira insisted. I'm not putting it on again. This dress is marked by your negative energy now. If I wear it again, all that negativity will pour into our relationship. And I'm doing everything I can to keep our relationship beautiful. I don't want anything to cast a shadow over it.
That's an interesting theory, Mark snorted. Is that why we're talking about getting a third closet? So all your outfits and their energies have enough space?
Well, I have to store everything somewhere, Kira protested.
And you don't wear half of it because your clothes are supposedly soaked in negative energy, he asked suspiciously.
You're such a good husband, Kira beamed at him. You understand me so well.
I understand you, Mark said on a sigh. Here's a thought, could we maybe sell or donate the stuff you're never going to wear again? So we don't have to keep turning this place into a walk-in boutique?
Are you crazy? Kira actually looked scared. Of course not. Even if there is negative energy, it's still the energy of our family. If we give it away or throw it out, our family will be drained energetically. And then our family will. She broke off and sucked in a panicked breath.
Mark slapped his palm to his forehead. How did I not think of that myself? Well, if that's the case, that's completely different, he said dryly.
I'm doing everything I can to keep our family strong, Kira said with great seriousness. I pour all my energy into that.
And all of my money, Mark muttered.
Oh, money. Kira waved a hand and gave a little amused snort. Love is what matters. Nothing is more important than love.
Except maybe money, common sense, and an actual brain, Mark grumbled under his breath.
Kira didn't catch that last part. She was busy picking up his empty cup.
Kira, could you maybe treat the money I earn a little more carefully? Mark asked. I get that we're comfortable, I know I make decent money. But still, it doesn't just fall into my lap, you know? It's kind of painful watching it vanish on complete nonsense.
But you're always buying yourself expensive, nice clothes, Kira said, pouting a little. I want to be beautiful too. Beautiful for my husband.
I buy clothes because at work I have to look professional, Mark said importantly. And I pay for my clothes with the money I earn. Meanwhile, you sit at home and spend my money. So maybe show a little restraint, yeah?
Kira had already turned toward the kitchen with the tray, but that last sentence stopped her cold. From behind, Mark could see her shoulders tense up, rise, then drop with a very deep breath. She slowly turned around, on stilettos, because at home she wore high heels to always be a lady for her husband. Then, with all her strength, she flung the tray onto the hardwood floor. The ceramic tray shattered. Pieces of it skittered in every direction. Mark jumped up from the couch.
I am so sick of you. Kira's voice was suddenly dark and booming. I am done. I have nothing left.
She dropped into the nearest armchair, yanked the stilettos off her aching feet, then, one by one, hurled both shoes in Mark's direction.
Who exactly do you think you are? She demanded. You're a driver, Mark. A chauffeur. That's all. And you walk around like you at least own an oil company.
And now, let's step away from the flying shoes for a moment. There's a line in an old movie, don't try to make your dream come true. Let it stay a dream. As long as it's a dream, it's perfect. The moment you start turning it into reality, all the rough edges appear, little disappointments, annoyances, and frustrations. Sometimes it's better to let the dream stay a dream. Let it keep you going when life gets hard and warm you when your soul feels drafty. But dreams are called dreams for a reason, they lure you in. They tug at you. They pull you forward. And you pour all your strength into trying to make them real. So what does almost every man dream about? Men dream of a lot of things. Many of them completely unrealistic. But there's one fantasy on that list that actually can be realized. A man dreams of having a lady by his side. And in that word lady, there's a whole bundle of soft focus fantasies. In that fantasy, the lady greets her husband from work in an evening dress, full makeup, on heels. Dinner's ready, the house is spotless, everything smells amazing. She's gentle, affectionate, always agreeable. She meets him with a smile. She hangs on his every word and rushes to fulfill his every wish. And she genuinely enjoys doing all that for her man. Throw your slippers if you like. It's a dream. For most men, it stays just that, a dream. Except Mark got lucky. His dream actually came true. And it's not like Mark was some tech billionaire or hedge fund legend. He was just a guy. So let's rewind and start from the beginning. Mark first met Kira when he came in to apply for a job. Back then, Kira was the head of HR at a large distribution company on the edge of the city. Mark was trying to get hired as a driver in the procurement department, someone to cruise around town in a box truck, picking up whatever the company needed, from office paper to spare parts for the machinery. Something definitely sparked between them across that HR desk. Cupid must have been in a playful mood that day. Their short, whirlwind office romance ended in a wedding. Right after the wedding, they took out a mortgage on a 3-bedroom condo in a nice suburb, better than bouncing from rental to rental forever. Because Kira ran HR, she knew about more internal openings than ever made it to public job postings. About 6 months after the wedding, the CEO's personal driver quit. Kira got Mark into that position immediately. The pay was better, the work was easier, and, most importantly, the status. Not just running around town for the procurement guys anymore, but driving the CEO himself. And the CEO quietly handed Mark cash on the side for personal errands. That's when Mark's sense of self-importance went through the roof. One evening he threw the idea out almost jokingly, and Kira grabbed onto it instantly.
If you only knew how tired I am of going into the office every day, she admitted. I know my calling is home and family.
You're serious? Mark was surprised.
Of course, my love, Kira smiled. Isn't it wonderful to devote yourself to your home and your family? To wait for your husband to come home, to cook him a delicious dinner? It's such a joy to feed a hungry man you love. And breakfast, she added. That's so important. When you're working full-time, there's no time to make a proper breakfast. If I'm home, I can make you breakfast, help you get ready, walk you out the door. You're not just some random driver, Mark. You drive a serious person. That's a huge responsibility. If you don't do your job well, the entire company is left without a leader. That's a lot of pressure.
Well, when you put it like that, Mark said, slightly puffing up.
We have to get you at least one good 3-piece suit, Kira nodded. Some nice ties. Real leather shoes. You need to look the part.
Well then, the card's all yours, Mark grinned and handed Kira his paycheck debit card.
He still had the CEO's cash tips for his own whims, so it felt safe enough. A week later, Mark decided he'd basically made it to heaven without dying. Every morning Kira woke him with a gentle kiss. Breakfast was already on the table. And she didn't pad around in a worn robe with her hair in a messy bun, she had her hair done, makeup on, and a light dress. She helped him dress, straightened his tie, brushed invisible lint off his jacket before he walked out the door. In the evenings, Kira met him in a cocktail dress or a smart skirt suit. Always in heels. Hair and makeup, of course, that was just the baseline. Dinner smelled incredible the moment he stepped inside. She helped him out of his coat, handed him house slippers, took his briefcase. And she was always smiling. On top of that, Kira was endlessly generous with praise.
You're my provider. You're the smartest, the strongest, the kindest man in the world.
And there was not a hint of sarcasm in her voice. 5 happy years of marriage flew by. Mark kept working as the CEO's driver. Kira was the perfect lady housewife. She also managed the family budget. The way things were set up in the first months of their marriage stayed that way. Somehow, in those 5 years, the mortgage got completely paid off. Mark didn't really know how. He trusted Kira with all the bills and payments. Whatever his salary was, apparently it covered everything, with room to spare. His impossible dream had come true, and a cozy, comfortable life felt like his reward. And someone else's happiness, as the saying goes, always sticks in the throat of jealous neighbors. For Mark and Kira, that neighbor was Tracy Miller from across the hall. Tracy had been happily divorced twice and was very proud of the fact. But the cozy stability next door was like a bone stuck in her throat. And manipulating a man, if you have experience, is no big deal. Tracy had 2 ex-husbands behind her. She had plenty of experience.
"You're a good guy, Mark," Tracy cooed one evening, catching him in the hallway. "Solid." hardworking. You've got style. You're smart. Why are you putting up with that freeloader? She doesn't lift a finger all day, Tracy went on. Just sits home looking pretty, which, you know, so do I, by the way. And every time I look out the window, there she is, stepping out of another Uber, arms full of shopping bags. And not just any bags, she leaned in. Nordstrom, Saks, all the fancy places. I can see the logos. She's burning through crazy money on God knows what. And you work. You grind. You bring home the paycheck. And she just runs around the mall all day. With those girlfriends of hers. Tracy rolled her eyes. They swan and they're all done up like they're going to some red carpet thing. It's embarrassing. Why do you need that? A woman whose only thoughts are shopping and girlfriends. You need a real woman, Mark. One who won't blow your money, one who'll bring in her own money too.
And of course the real woman she was hinting at? Herself. She wasn't just jealous of their happiness, she was jealous of those luxury shopping bags Kira kept bringing home while not working. In Tracy's mind, that could only mean one thing: Mark must be making serious money. Her calculation was simple: once he kicked Kira out, Tracy would be right there to console him. You can't really blame Tracy for everything. She talked. Mark could have tuned her out. But he didn't. He listened. He started paying attention. And he realized Kira really was dropping what looked like insane amounts of money on herself. So Mark decided it was time to rein his wife in a little, put some limits in place. And that's how we got to the flying tray and the stilettos. Now, let's go back to that living room, to the moment right after the shoes hit the wall.
You want to talk about who actually supports this family? Kira threw at him suddenly. Fine. Let's talk.
What? Mark barked.
You heard me, Kira shot back.
You dare talk to your husband like that, he roared.
Oh, husband, Kira said dismissively. Big title for such a small presence.
Have you completely lost it? Mark turned even redder, breathing hard. I'm the one who provides for this family. I support you. And you throw this in my face?
Mark's cheeks were flushed, his breath coming in angry, ragged bursts. Kira, the complete opposite, burst out laughing.
My God. I've been living with this man for 5 years, she said through laughter. Mark, you cannot be this stupid and this full of yourself at the same time. Do you really think a chauffeur's salary is enough to pay off a mortgage on a 3-bedroom condo in 5 years and cover all my shopping on top of that? At best, your salary would barely cover groceries.
Then where the hell are you getting the money? Mark shouted. You're at home all day.
Did you forget I used to run HR? Kira asked. I have a college degree. I'm a valuable specialist.
But you're at home, he repeated helplessly.
Ever heard of remote work? Kira laughed again. You are so naive, I don't even know what to compare you to. 3-year-olds are less naive.
Mark stared at her, stunned and silent for once.
At first, I was just messing with you, Kira admitted. I quit the office, got a remote offer from a recruiting firm a month later, and thought it would be funny not to tell you right away. You didn't notice anything off. Then I got curious how long you could go without noticing. Turns out, forever. So I started adding all that nonsense about energies, negative dresses, family vibrations, whatever. And you thought it was all perfectly normal. Then it got interesting in a different way. Is there any limit to your ego? To this arrangement where everything's about you, and you don't really give anything in return besides your opinion of yourself? I haven't seen any limit so far. But your little speech about how I sit at home and spend your money? She shook her head. That, I'm not going to tolerate. Mark, you hit the jackpot. You had a woman willing to cook for you, take care of the house, look like a lady for you, and quietly pay off your mortgage and most of the bills without ever rubbing it in your face. But you? You're completely unfit for family life. I'll file for divorce myself.
They divorced. Of course they did. The property got split down the middle. The condo, the car, the savings, everything that suddenly looked much less like his and much more like theirs. The real tragedy for Mark wasn't the court dates or the paperwork. It was that he never understood why Kira stopped loving him. After all, in his mind, he was amazing. A year later, Mark became Tracy's third ex-husband.